Let's talk about travel expenses when it comes to wedding hair and makeup artists, wedding suppliers in general, but I'm going to talk about hair and makeup artists. So I do see a lot of comments, people are looking for local vendors, which totally makes sense. If you're getting married somewhere, you've ideally getting local people, it makes sense, it saves travelling, not just expenses, but it just saves people travelling too far and somebody's nearby. Something to consider is when you're getting married in Scotland, specifically, I'm talking more of the Highlands, not necessarily just the Highlands though, but certain areas, it's quite rural and you don't have many suppliers. Even Dumfries and Galloway, rural area, and the amount of wedding specialists in the area, there isn't lots. So a lot of the time you're having to get people coming from out with the area, Glasgow, Edinburgh, further afield, because there's just not that much choice. And the choice, even if there is a choice, the ones that are in this area, for example, they're already booked out. And they can only do so many weddings. More so like the Highlands, there's not many hair and makeup artists at all. There are some, but there's not that many, and they are booked out because, again, the demand. So a lot of brides-to-be and couples are having to find suppliers further afield. This has to be charged for. If you're getting somebody from Glasgow or Edinburgh to come up to the Highlands, that's maybe a 3-4 hour drive. They're going to have to do a stay over. You're going to have to take that into account. They're going to have accommodation. And don't get me wrong, they're not going to want fancy 5-star hotels or anything like that. Quite often we take the very basic, to keep the cost down. We're not picking the fanciest hotel that we can. We do like to keep the cost down for you because we understand it's a lot of money. But if you're hoping to just have local suppliers for your wedding and you're getting married somewhere a little bit more remote, take this into account because the local ones are likely going to be booked up, and they'll book up way in advance. Even the ones we book up way in advance, 2-3 years ahead sometimes. In an area such as Glencoe or up in the Highlands and even Dumfries and Galloway, there's certain areas that it's harder to find local hair and makeup artists. We do have to charge for that. As I say, we can't drive 3-4 hours to a venue, get you ready and drive home and not charge for it, or charge £20 petrol. We can't do that. We just can't do it. So it's not the fact that a lot of wedding suppliers are trying to rip you off or they want to charge you lots of money. It's the fact that they're travelling from a fair distance and they will have to charge you a fair price to cover wear and tear and fuel. And we know the prices of fuel at the moment is rocketed. So these things come into account. So don't think it's easy just to think, oh, they're just ripping me off, it's a wedding and, they're just asking for loads of money. No, we're just asking what's fair to travel a 3 or 4 hour journey, each way to do a wedding. So remember that. We're not trying to take more money off you. We're not trying to be greedy. If you can't get local suppliers in certain areas in Scotland, you are going to have to bring in people from a little further afield. That is going to cost you more.